Yeah. So we're going to get started where we left off. We were discussing the root word, which would even producing voice, or being born, they bore him, or he was born in Tunkashila. Remember, that's the uh, grandfather, the originator of the families, and so he was also in remembrance of our DNA. That's our sap of us living. Even the mommies had water, and that's where we dwelled until we were able to form in the right way. And then we were uh, tchum. So tchumpi ampet would be birthday. Tchumpi ampet. We stopped at ho tchum. That was producing a voice. So if you say shunkawa khahe tokel ho tchum, how does the horse have a sound? And you go, if you're not afraid to make sounds. Or how does a cricket sound if you're not afraid to be a cricket? There, really got it. And notice the next one, if you have this handout, is untchum. Untchum with pus means the hurt by an open cut. And usually when you have an open cut, there's pus started to build around it. So you have to wipe it off. And remember, your peroxide and stuff, you wipe it, clean it. Because pus starts to build around it, probably for healing, or a sign that you were uh, seriously hurt. You know, Oyaza is just uh, he hurt at a certain location. Chunkpe Oyaza would be your knees were hurt, and there was no visible cut, but you just had a probably bumped into something with your knees. Uh, say Natayazan, you had a headache. There's no open cut, unchum, not unchum. Okay. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Techi. That's a sound that we have that actually means difficult. Techi. It's a techike, hard task or a hard time. So we had a le omakhakiha. Omakha ehake oheha. The last year and this year, otechike, it was a hard time, because of the pandemic. Na ampetuki lilo otechike. These days are very difficult. And a lot of people didn't work. They were some of them were actually quarantined. They didn't enjoy a work day away from home. And it's good that we have this Zoom, so we could reach some people, and to be able to still keep in touch. The storyteller was that way. They go to the homes because we didn't have no telephones or TVs, radio in the old days. We had a radio, but it was with the battery, and then we had a pole that went up and another pole way over there about maybe 50 feet. And then they put a wire from there to there. And then the aerial from the radio we tied up there so it could catch more of the radio waves. And so that way we could hear the radio. The radios are really tall, standing wood, uh, uh, little like a box container for the wires, and the battery was on the floor behind it. Remember to put your battery on wood. You don't want to put it on uh, the ground itself because it drains. So you need to put it on wood to help with retaining the energy. Even car batteries, you don't put them on the ground. You put them on a piece of wood, to retain the energy of the battery. Some things we have to do. So uh, during the hard times, we depended on the radio. Back when it was difficult, we could listen to the radio and see the radio announcer would tell where they were going to bring some bales for the cattle. During that 49 blizzard, we had to depend on the radio to see where they were going to bring some food. Maybe at St. Barnabas a meeting hall to bring some food there uh, for the Kyle community, um, Medicine Root district. And so we go over there in our wagons, some of them on sleighs, the horse pulling sleigh. We go over there because the time was Otechika or Otechike. It was difficult to have things because we couldn't get to the store. And if the prices went up because of the uh, extreme uh, demand, sometimes store owners raise their prices. I think they still do that today. When they have less of something, they raise the prices. It's kind of a tactic or a, uh, a strategy, to be able to be a good salesman, entrepreneur. If they had a lot of things, a lot of oranges and apples, then the prices go down because there's a lot available, and they don't want them to rot and get wasted. So they need to start selling them to preserve the freshness. I'm just making up a story, but I think that's what happens, you know, because when the grapes are at the store and they start to get old, they get pishpija, okay, they get spongy, and so that's when the prices go way down because they're trying to get rid of them before they rot. And so there's a lot of those strategies like that. I've always looked for sale signs, see what's a good price. You know. Old bananas are when they start turning brown. My wife likes them because she brings them back and make banana walnut cake, banana and walnut. Oh, that's good. Banana and walnut muffins, really good. She makes mine with stevia, no sugar for me. So she makes my uh, sweet things with stevia and not with sugar. Strategies, right? Even for our health. Potechike, difficulty or struggle. That H on otechike should be a dot over it for the guttural sound. Otechike. Okay. Otechike. So difficult to own or difficult to attain. Okay. Otechia, a difficult, struggling along, moving. Otechia maunipi. We walked a really difficult way in the snow because it was deep. Otechia maoni. We had struggling through the snow. Otechia. In a difficult way. That yeah does that. Otechia. So that would be a adverb to help whatever verb you're doing, singing or dancing or walking, uh, even sleeping. Otechia mishtimir, difficulty sleeping. I turn that way and I turn this way, trying to sleep. Somebody's talking about me. That's what we say when we sneeze. Somebody's talking about me. Again. And the next one is tequila. A dot over the H again. That's tequila, with treasures, loves. That there's techi difficulty, but the LA is for endearment. It's a lovable, difficult treasure or love. Techi. Temochila loves me, cares for me. Tenichila loves you, cares for you. Why do we use the word difficulty in a love word? Well, uh, here's the one that really helps to explain that. Techichila. She is I to you. I love you. I treasure you. But techichila means I have gone through difficult times with you. We had difficulties in our relationship. That's the techi. I to you is the chi. La. But I still love you. Like after 8 years, you're still together through those difficult times. So you said te chi chi la. The te and chi, right in the middle is chi. The pronoun is right in the middle of the te and chi. Te chi chi. And then la, the love endearment sound. So, meaning when you have a relationship or somebody has a relationship, if he or she sees somebody, even saying "washtet means I consider you as good. You know, I just have thoughts that you're a good person by what you're showing of generosity and kindness. So you could say that "washtet I kind of think you're a good person. You don't instantly say I love you if you don't know them. You know, one time one of my uh, in-laws, uh, really young guy, and his girlfriend, they came to talk to me. They shook my hand. They said we just got together, and, we've been thinking about being together for a long time. They told me that. So I said, I asked the girl, I said, do you know his favorite color? And she said, no. About his favorite songs? Uh, I don't know. How about, do you know what books he likes? No. And how about, uh, what sports does he like? He watches football. What does he like it? Or is he sitting with everybody because they're his friends? I don't know that. And I asked my in-law, my relative by marriage, my son, in-law's son would say, you know, that you're really young guy. And I asked him the same things. about her. And he said, no, I don't know her favorite color, I don't know her song, or I don't know what books she likes. In other words, what they're telling me is they don't even know each other. They're just going by surface. Oh, he looks so handsome. She looks so beautiful. Part of the relationship, which is not wrong. What I'm saying is you have to get to know somebody in order to last a long, long time. Because if you find out flaws after you had made promises to each other, then you're going to have some disillusionment. Oh, I didn't know because this, or a lot of other things in her too. You're starting to find out things after you made a commitment. Now, you're supposed to get to know them and then make a commitment. In other words, you have to be together, working together, maybe in a library together, maybe in some volunteer work, uh, filling up sandbags or working together and in a hard way, the hard ways, volunteer to firefighting at a forest fire, doing things together and scolding each other for mistakes and stuff, but you're going through difficult times that way. When you do things together and you see the difficulty of how you could get along under any circumstances, you start to realize you need to learn to get along under any conditions. And that would be unconditional. Because if you could stand a person even with the mistakes and he corrected it because you said that he has to, then you start to recognize one another even better because he could listen and you could listen with the corrections to be made with the relationship and the mistakes you make working at something and getting advice from each other and then working through it. Now, if they were doing that for 2, 3 years and they're still together, they've gone through difficult times together. Maybe that was the trial period of trying to know one another. We have to go through that trial time to get to know one another. See if we could handle difficulties and still be together. That would be the la part. Kechichi, la. I still love you through these hard times. I to you. I've gone through difficult times with you and I'm still with you. Now that, if you do that and you're still together for many years, going through difficult times, having a bad idea about each other, is go to a marriage counselor or a relationship counselor before you even make a lifetime commitment. This is a wonderful word of the Lakota. Keshichila. I've gone through difficult times with you. We don't think about it that way because it's always with us. We just said Techichila and we never knew the deep structure of that word, of commitments, difficulties, working together, working through things, not accusing one another, not getting jealous, starting to trust. Then everything's good. Some people get married and start to find out all the flaws and all the bad things, and pretty soon there's a divorce because they didn't work through it ahead of time. They start finding out in the marriage, and you see so many divorces because they didn't know how to master that difficulty of getting somebody. If you're disillusioned about something, then you try to work through it, and then when you work through it, and then you arrive at some good answers, then you have enlightenment. You're enlightened to know that, oh, we could work this out with the help of somebody, maybe a priest, medicine man. You ask them for advice. And especially the people who are married for a long, long time, you could go to them and ask for advice. And if you're serious about somebody, don't be afraid to ask for advice from the elders or the medicine men. That's what they're there for. That's why they attained old age when they're still together. And the medicine men, they have to make that commitment to do right and do good things for the Oyate. Priests too. They made that commitment to help people. So they had to study about relationships. They had to read that wonderful Bible of how things were finally come to a good answer. There's a lot of wars in the Bible. How did they attain to uh, make a good outcome out of that? Or is it just our nature to fight and try to get other people's land and gold and all kinds of products of that country to dominate them because of the resources? You know, we have to learn as humans to work throughout our lives through things and to be able to work through things. We have so many committees, in uh, on our villages and our state, our counties. Some of them should involve helping one another to get along a little bit better. I think it's up to the individuals in their communities. Depend on church, depend on going to the sweat lodge and praying, depend on maybe the Sundance, that you made a commitment to do something right. And so you would start to work toward a good, healthy, responsible, and far seeing, planning, budgeting, good way of life. I could say this because for once I did it. I have the right to say this because for once I did things the right way. And so I had the right to say, Techichila, I love you. And it'll always be that way. Because I learned if something's wrong, we're going to settle it right away, out in the open. I'm sorry that I put Clorox in the color clothes or whatever it is. We argue about uh, making rules that we don't do that. We have to have we can't be using all our good clothes for work clothes all the time. Uh, we still have to have something that's good to wear. So that's a amazing, beautiful word, that the Lakota have of relationships. Techia, in a difficult manner. Wo techila, the value of caring. Now, wo is the value part. Wo techila, the value of caring. Wo techila includes a collective village, family. They have that wo techila. That wo, that spirit, the value part is what holds them together. So wo techila hitch. Lena, tuktektel, wo hampinaha, tuwai ashna. If we have a feast and have somebody speak during the meal, that's a otechila. That's a treasure. So we could hear the elders talk during a meal and to be able to uh, gather more of those values to um, with that we move with it to the rest of our existence. Okay. Now we completed this whole handout. We started from P. Look at that. And that's where the word Pia, Kimaki P, it fits me. Wapia fixes things. Wapia Wichasha. the person who is the designated healer, okay? Or can fix a broken arm or a sprained ankle. However they know to do things through all the history of helping in pain. You could depend on those knowledgeable people, especially midwives. They deliver babies, and if they're really good, they don't lose any babies. They do things the right way. And so then we went to Ni, of which Niwaya, I breathe, and Onie, my breathing, uh, the lung and the breathing pathways, Onie. Wonie Wakan, the air. Again, wo is there, it's a value, right? Wonie, the value of life, and it's sacred. That's air. Wonie Wakan. Wani etu, winter. Yeah, things of life during that time. What is the things of life during that time? It means the preparation for the winter. Chopping wood, hauling water, make sure that the spring you make a cedar box and drop it down so you'll always have fresh water even through the winter because spring water does not freeze. You'll always have water there in that little box. Not little, maybe a little over a yard square and tall, so you drop it right where the spring is so the sides fill up. And then my grandpa had a pipe on the side so that the water drips out of there coming out. A steady flow. So you could go get your bucket and get some water and go home. Those are old Indian tricks. No wonder we lived for so long, right? You had to have known those. Maybe we didn't now. Now we do. Because I said it. And we used to put our butter and cheese and things we didn't want to melt. We put in that spring water because it's ice cold. So you see little buckets in our spring, uh, that cedar box. You look down in that water and there are floating buckets with butter in it. And it's still hard. Cheese is still good, didn't melt. Some of the things that we didn't want to have spoil were right there. Even see a watermelon floating around one time, and we brought it home and cut it up. It's ice cold watermelon during a hot day. So that's the way to think. That's the old timers. They were knowledgeable, knowledgeable. Okay, and so that's the one. Wichoni would be people collectively alive. Wichoni. Mani Wichoni. The life of the water, right? Mani Wichoni, or the living water. Mani Wichoni. They live by that water. Mani Wichoni was a program. I don't know if it's still going, piping the Missouri River water to Rosebud and Pine Ridge. That was a program to help with the water problems back in the day. But another word would be uh, chania, would be scolding the wife or the wife scolding the man. Chante niye means the life of the heart. It's not getting angry, it's just your heart is enlivened by a mistake. And that's that scolding part. If you get scolded, you admit to it, then that's that difficulty that you overcome and you still love each other. That's one of the difficulties. If we do something wrong, then we instantly try to work it out. Then you could say Techichila, you know, because you went through a difficult time and you straightened it out. Wanikia, this one, Kota, we use it as somebody who's bringing his own to life. His own is means his people to life. Wanikia. Give them spiritual energy. Wanikia. You know, everybody's down, but somebody comes and give a hopeful talk, you know, give some semblance of faith and hope that we're going to make it through this. You know, I think that during this time we really depend on the wise ones to talk to us about this pandemic, that we can overcome it because we overcame a lot of things. You know, we went through the smallpox and tuberculosis. You know, thanks to the people who had knowledge of making vaccines, you know, to help us who didn't have a medicine for those strange diseases. If we had a disease that we were familiar with, we had some medicines to fix it. But alcoholism, tuberculosis, smallpox, we never did have those, so we don't have a medicine to withstand it. So that's when we have to depend on one another as humans. And somebody had the wherewithal and the patience to study about this disease and what can help to give it relief or healing. And the knowledgeable ones agreed on it, that it would work. There would be a Wanikia, the helper of the people to keep them alive. You know, the Christian church, the Native American church, they say Wanikia in their songs, Savior or Wanikia, uh, the one that keeps our spiritual life and our physical life still going. You know, so we say Wanikia, the Savior. And you know, some of the Native American church songs, they even say Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Ushimalayo. They acknowledge, you know, people who think and live that way in the Christian world. They would understand that that would be a way also. Because if you have the spirit, the true spirit of praise, and the true spirit of knowing who is a healer from up above or from the existing world within us, the sharing, the collective unconscious through the body memory of songs, the incenses, the tastes of food, all those combined sometimes brings the body back to when it was well. And it helps easier to then start healing because we have a trail in our little tiny bodies that says the body can heal itself. We don't know what that is, but sometimes it happens miraculously by beseeching or lamenting or asking Wanikia, the Savior, to help us. You know, and I myself, I went through cancer, and did I pray? I prayed and tied tobacco ties, and when I tied somebody's healing tobacco ties, I include myself in it. Said, this is for me too. When I do my little 7 red tobacco ties, I pray for somebody that day. I include myself too. Please help me. And whoever needs help also, these ties are for them too. So I have a whole bunch of ties here. You know, that I'm going to the sweat lodge on 16th. So I'm going to take all my tobacco ties, pray with them in the sweat lodge, the inipi. Ini unkakapikte. We're gonna create the celebration of life. And then I would have them hanging in, leave them hanging in. Next time I go, maybe I'll burn them in the fire when they heat the rocks. There's ways you can appease your heart, doing the right things to help with yourself and pray for others to help others. And so that's a good thing, good way to live. It's our rituals, the things we do over and over that keep us alive. Unipi. Unipi. Those are the things and the reasons why we're still alive. We're still, as Lakota people, going on through this difficult world. I just read, I'm reading this book about the Missouri River, all the things that happen, along the Missouri and far up north, you know, we start to have, difficult times along the Missouri River Valley. And so they uh, went and, in this book, some of the people went to Utah and they got advice from Wovoka because they said he was going to make things come back alive the way it used to be. And they hoped he was right. We always hope somebody is the right one of our difficult times. That maybe it might work because we believe in miracles. We're like Lakota. We believe that might be true because a woman brought her sacred flame. And when she was coming, she was a white buffalo. When she went down in the hill and came back up, there was a woman carrying a bundle. It was a surprise. And the surprise means miracle in my language, our language. Oyush in your head. That's a woman. I thought it was buffalo. It's a woman. And so we know about miracles. So when they said this man might be able to create the way the Lakota always lived in the past, before the white man came, they'll get back to a regular, normal, everyday, loving, caring, intimate existence. Would you dance for that? Sure they did. They danced the ghost dance. Yeah. But ghost in our language means spirit. They danced in a sacred way. Not like a ghost that you would imagine, a apparition. It's gone. Well, no, this was the spirit of the people was enjoyed in harmony with ourselves to create that bond. And that bond probably helped him. That bond probably created good thoughts and meditation. They had dreams. Dreams means meditation that was manifested in a good way. It showed a good light, even if there wasn't. At least they saw a good life in that dream world of praying. It still helped. But other people said that was propaganda. They're getting together to make war. The ghost dance is a war dance. You know, that's propaganda. That's a wrong way to talk about people. If you don't know what they're doing, don't talk about it at all. You don't know about them, don't talk about them at all. You make up stories. Don't make up stories. In fact, in Lakota, it's taboo to lie, especially about somebody. Don't hurt them. Don't hurt their feelings. You know, there's some strict human things that every human should know. Are human things. You know, what I'm saying is a spin-off off of these words. Isn't that wonderful? I never did say these in that sequence ever before. It just helps me that through linguistics and understanding the deep structure, there's a story of life going on. The story of Wichoni, livelihood, collective livelihood. And that collective should reach all humans. The Wicho should be all humans. Wichoni. Maybe Lakota should be rewritten for some people in different languages and explain the deep structure of what words and intent really means. Some people brush the intent of goodness away because they want to be the ones that dictate that in their way and leave out the Lakota as savages and heathens. That's what happens. You know, we still maintain our Lakota way. I hear a lot of stories about somebody's vision where they would say, don't change your ways. Always be a Lakota. Remain Lakota no matter how much change comes on this earth. That means Lakota, first of all, means allies. If you have allies, what do? You show them trust because they're ally. You show them generosity. You know, even white people that come into our villages, we give them gifts. But Dances with Wolves. Kevin Costner got all kinds of gifts, right? He got that air pipe breastplate, got a choker, yeah, even had a feather. I mean, they trusted his actions and everything he did. They practically adopted him. They even gave him a name, Dances with Wolves. Shungmoni ti Obachi. They even give him a name. You know, that's how we are. You know, when the white people met us, they didn't invite us and give us uh, clothing and a hat, chokers and stuff. I don't think so. They probably did if they wanted something. Yeah, I did if they wanted something, right? Yeah, I think so. They give you beads if they wanted something. Maybe in friendship. No, you give things because you have a certain understanding of another person. If you don't understand something, why are you going to give them gifts? Right? Why are you going to give them gifts? Then we went to cha, the root word cha. Even Chun Li, right? Commercial cigarettes, we went through that. The neighbor to it, Chanshasha. Yeah, the uh, red willow, the inner bark of the red willow. And the whole willow, of course, boil it and drink it. It's like an aspirin, right? Yeah, we hear that often now. But people who study these pharmacology or herbologists, they start to find out the values of what we had as Lakota people. They start to get better at it because they have to test by trial and error and things. We just say it's good for us. That's good enough. I don't have to know the science behind it. Yeah, right below. I don't even know the scientific name for it. And Cha Gatoto. The what? Woodpecker. Yeah, even that wasn't chant because it goes to the and what else? Physical. Chante. Chante, right here, chante. Yeah. Hiete. Yeah, the back part right here. Naute, right here, up here. Okay. Ite. Oh, so chante, is the heart part. Prachte, right up there. And, a whole bunch of things, right? Siete, your heel. I love it. So, this is my story about that. I'm a storyteller. Oh, I love stories. And I like to make some things up because it makes sense. Ate. Overall is on everything. Ah. Ayampa means overall the night it became daylight. And he's still awake. Ayampa, you stayed up all night and he's still sitting there wide awake. Ah, over the whole night, right? Those are the ones that get gifts at the wakes because they stayed and stayed up for the person that is held in honor in, of his passage to grandfather, a celebration. And those people who stay up to sit with the body, ayampa, over the night, they sat there awake. I would give them a gift. I give a whole bunch of gifts to a lot of people because they stayed up at my mom's funeral. I really appreciated that for having that much respect. Some were cooking all night, making pies and cakes, trying to remember who's all helping because I want to give them gifts. I want to show my appreciation and their witness, the way the witness for us. And this happens not just for me. A lot of people experience the same thing I'm saying right now. A lot of people have appreciation. That's how we are. We appreciate it. We want to have a good way, good path for those who are going to grandfather and grandmother, and Mother Earth and grandfather, the stone, and everything that comes to us from the stars and from up in the blue that's coming down. There were many things that came to us from those skies, different things that were brought here for our existence. So we have to acknowledge, you know, things at that road when somebody's going home. We even had songs for it. Yeah. One of my best friends, Earl Bull. Oh, he has some beautiful songs for wakes, burials. I sing some of them, and sometimes I sing with him. When we're invited to sing at a memorial or a tombstone unveiling. A lot of things, a lot of times we're together singing together. But he has those songs so well preserved. A lot of them are from the Smithsonian. A lot of them are from different research materials. He's a world-class researcher. He saved a lot of those old songs so we could enjoy them today and use them today. You listen to Kili radio, sometimes you'll hear a memorial song. It's Earl Boga, you know, on Kili radio. And so just remember them and sing them. If you hear it on radio, it's free for everybody. If you hear them on radio, it's free for everybody. Because we left the door open, right? What about Chaotila? the little men who live in the woods, Chihotila. A lot of people said little people. And a lot of white people always ask me, where can we see one of those little people? So I don't know. Well, I don't. But they ask me these questions that people think we should know. I just know there's such a thing. I never did see him. But if I do, that would be the day. That and flying saucers and stuff. I'm hoping for things everybody talks about. I never saw one. But things are true. Some of the most upstanding pillars of the community. They've been miraculously led astray by the dear woman. Dear woman. There's one in Porcupine, a deer woman, where everybody always sees one. It used to be close to Dave Badger's old residence. He passed away a long time. I think his logo is still standing. Dave Badger's. This is where Malone, Mr. Malone, the store owner, he lives right there too. And there's a little bridge there. You cross that and you go towards Dave Badger's. Right around in there, people always experience the dear woman. Even one of my uncles, uh, his name was Spider, Melvin Spider. They call him Cat. They say that he was led astray by one of those dear women because he uh, thought that she was pretty. Maybe he could give her directions and help her to get home or whatever he thought. He started following her. The next thing he knew, he was in a mountain range with pine trees and he didn't know how he got there. But later stories said he followed a deer woman and she made him get lost. So that's what happened. That deer woman could lead you astray and take you far away and leave you someplace. Nothing happened. It's just that he got lost because he followed the deer woman. And so stories like that, if it actually happened to somebody who was mentally stable and was respected and held as a truthful, honest person, and still carried away and made to get lost, then I would believe that. So I know that maybe there are Chaotila. And like I said, I never saw one. Uh, I don't know if I hope to, but it's just something that is a story. Maybe it's true, maybe not. Some of those things that are miraculous in a Lakota way of life. Sometimes we say, yeah, we believe in miracles. Might happen, I don't know yet. Uh, and how about Chanakpa? That's a big thing nowadays. Even on TV, the mushrooms. And then now there's warnings. It says some of the mushrooms might be poisonous. So you have to know which mushrooms are edible and which ones are good for your health. Always a good thing to know the right ones to pick, right? It's a mushroom picking time is what is going on, I think. And, so we would really depend on things from the wood. Even chanshi, the gum that grows from the pine tree, the pine sap, use it as glue, gluing wood together and things. And of course, we have to use you would glue something together. In the old days, they got rawhide and wrapped it. And a rawhide, if you stretch a rawhide and wrap something, It tries to find its own size, and that's what squeezes it. Squeeze like this drum. Here, I have a little drum. And this little drum on the back. These here, I stretched it out so much, and then I wrapped my drum. And so when these start to get dry, they look for their own distance. So they're shriveling and shriveling and tightens up the drum. That's how I make my drum. Secret, look at this. This is a secret that I'm going to show you because I don't think anybody could try it and make one like that. Maybe they could. Maybe they could. But that's the way I make my drum. It sounds good. This is just the 11-inch drum. Sounds like a drum that's 15 inches. This is buffalo. Buffalo, strong, dependable. You know, things that are dependable is what I use. Dependable things that would help us to go on. And how about chun oki, a wood horse pack? A wood pack you put on a horse or a mule, then you hang your quilts, blankets, lanterns, and things on those upright crossed wood. And so that would be a chun oki. Oki means to haul on the back. Okay. Oh, it's a place. Is to carry it on the back. You know, horse carries it on the back. Chan ho I u wege. It means wood structure to cross. And that'll be a bridge. Iuege means to cross the river. Iuege. Chan o iuege is the wood structure to cross the creek. A long one, right? Each of those syllables means something. Chan is wood. O is a place. I is the movement forward. Wege would be crossing. Chan o I uwege. Okay. Uwege would be the act of crossing. Okay. What about chan ichabu? Chan I is the force of motion. Cha is hitting. Ka, but then there's I, so you put a C, that K shift. If there's an I in front of the K, that K changes to C. So I say, Chan ichabu. Bu is the boom sound. So it chan ichabu would be one of these. Drumstick. Chan ichabu. You hit, force, chan ichabu, and this is wood. Chan ichabu. You hit forward and make that sound. Boom, that's the boo. Chan ichabu. And so there's creative words of describing a invention. You know, somebody invented a drumstick. How about chanchecha? Oh, somebody uh, had a wooden barrel. Well, it's not only a wooden barrel, they stretched a hide over it on both sides. It's the chanchecha. It equal to a drum. It narrowed in meaning to mean a drum. Uh, the drum, the chanchecha is a bucket or a tub-like structure. Checha, chan, checha, wood, kettle. And you stretch the hide, both sides, tighten it down. It became narrowing in meaning to a drum. Chanchecha could mean a wooden bucket. It could. But generally now, chanchera means, like I said, narrowed in meaning to mean a drum. So that was a chanchera that I just showed you, and a ichabu, and the song, right? Oh, I can't wait for a powwow. I can't wait. I can't wait. Okay. Thank you for today. Thank you for listening. That was a review of some of the meaningful instrumentation affixes, syllabic root words, your syllables, one root word, like P, Ch, Ni, K, and many, many others. Thank you for today. Dok sha kewa chianka pikte. Tanya manipo. Le ampetu yamani ki elwa unkhtishni. Will not be here Wednesday.